Listen, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. Thank you for all my guys that actually support my content. I realize in life, other than telling people to stand down for what's going on in the world, I focus more on the support than people who don't support me now. Somebody said the single worst mistake I made in my life was having kids with who I have kids with. People pressure you to have kids but aren't around when you need help with those kids. Exactly. They don't care about you. They just want you to fail so they feel better about their failures. And they don't want to tell you that. It's saying with anything else, people are concerned with your life and ask them for help. Let me tell you guys something. When it comes to the SEX transaction, the real reason SEX is going to feel better when you're in your, 18 legal age, more younger 20s is because you're not thinking. We had a phrase growing up and nobody really mentions this phrase, but I'm gonna hit you guys with an old school phrase and I don't have to call pause. It's called young, dumb, and full of cum. But the problem is for the male anatomy, you never really run out of cum. You can shoot blanks if you just jerk off like for 45 years, but it has to be hard to jerk off for 45 years. But some guys probably will. Now, those guys will probably shoot blanks. But for the average guy that probably gets a woman once every blue moon, his body's going to keep replenishing cum. So you could be 30, young, dumb, and full of cum, because 30 is still young. You could be 40, halfway there, dumb and still full of cum. You could be 50, dumb, full of still of cum. It's nothing to be shy about. So if a 18-year-old guy's at the mall with his woman, he getting phone numbers talking about, yeah, I'm going to hit that. Unless he has a good male role model around him or some type of male structure, this is why I make content. He's not going to realize that sex is not beneficial for a man. When you have sex with a woman, the whole goal is for her to make you come. Once she gets that cum, it doesn't matter if it goes in her mouth, it doesn't matter if it goes in her face, it doesn't matter if it goes in her inside. And depending on who the guy is, if she gets that man cum, she's coming up on a G-Wagon. Like, people don't want to hear real content. So the dating game, we're going to make a lot of videos on dating because it's really the biggest, it's the biggest thing that destroys men. Now, most guys are not even dating with Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Now, this is how these guys look with Rolls Royce Uruses. And the reason I tell you guys get a Urus is only $160,000. But this is how the dating game looks. Guys on foot and catch Uber, they're afraid of these guys. These are the real guys in the dating game. They're coming through like B-2 bombers. Shout out to the Air Force. They're coming through to shut it down. They're coming through with Uruses. They're making airstrikes attack on ground. The Urus is nothing more than a B-2 bomber. A Rolls Royce Phantom Rave 2014, it doesn't matter. If anybody tell you got an old Rolls Royce, they hating on you. To everybody out there, Rolls Royce 2014, you can get one for $99,000. But at the end of the day, the guys that pull up in the Rolls Royces, they pull up in the Lamborghinis, they pull up in these big boy toys, you feel me? And they pull up in these Ferraris. These guys are the B-2 bombers of the dating game. So these guys are literally talking to women while the B-2 bombers are destroying the dating game, destroying your chicks, destroying your marriage. So these guys are not even playing the dating game right. You guys have to understand, I'm a photographer. I can give you a visual better than I can talk to you. Any man that pull up in a Urus, this is how he's looking to your chick. You probably look like, whoa, look at that thing. How you think your woman is looking when these guys pull up in SVJs, Porsche GTR S3s? They're coming through. These guys are not playing with you. They're hitting the streets like B-2 bombers. They might even pull up on the Hummer. You guys have to understand when guys, shout out to the South, they pulling up in them old school with 28-inch rims, 38-inch rims. Shout out to Roxborough, North Carolina. I went to a car show. These guys are coming through old schools looking like a B-2 bomber. Guys that really take a woman out on dates, Uber, Lyft, and they're wondering why it doesn't work out. You're not coming through the dating game looking like a B-2 bomber. Now, the guys that are like a B-2 bomber, they're going to go down as well, too. That's why the importance and the reason I love the Air Force is just anybody that really does any type of airstrike, military attacks. I love it because when it's all said and done, they can get hit, too. So you can come through with the Urus, have raw sex, and then you can get hit with child support. And the judge is going to look at your Urus. He's going to look at your Rolls Royce. It doesn't matter if it's a 2014. Every Rolls Royce starts at $500,000. People don't realize, but Rolls Royces are just natural BMWs that just are Rolls Royces. So the judge is going to say you got a 2014 Wraith, but we're still going to hit you with that $500,000. You have a $500,000 car. So when you a boss, you have to think about these things. Even though I'm copping a 2014 Wraith, the boss on child support, he's still gonna appraise that car what it was worth, and now my child support goes up. So now I was looking like a B2 bomber in a Urus, but now due to my lust, I'm going down. Crash, explode. So when it's all said and done, let's break down sex. The interaction between sex is only beneficial for a woman. It's not beneficial for a man. It's only beneficial for a man if he wants to procreate. See, no dating coach is going to give you this topic, because at the end of the day, they want you to play the game. The more you play the game, the more money they make. AMS, Fresh and Fit, Steph is Cole, you call them out. Fit X Fearless. Fit X Fearless is a warlock. He wants you to play this game at every level. You don't want to play this game because listen, when you're a boss, you have more to lose. And your seed, you are a whale. Your seed, if you're $1 million man, your seed is worth millions. So you got to have a millionaire, forget that, you got to have a billionaire mindset. So if you got a billionaire mindset, you got to think about it. Is Elon Musk hitting everything at the mall? No. Jeff Bezos, he's married, but he has his wife and they're cool with conditions of an open relationship. But is Jeff Bezos, is he hollering at everything at a car show? No. You see what I'm saying? You guys got to understand, it's the owner of the Lakers hollering at any woman on IG sliding a DM. No, because his seed is too expensive. You guys have to understand, we live in a Western world. Now, shout out to the Dominicans. Kill okay. But if we lived in the DR, we could run around and just be tigers. That's why I love the DR. You could just be tigers in the DR and you're not going to get hit with $30K for child support, $100K, man, depending on the woman and depending on your seed and depending on how much you make. Oh, your seed is worth at least $100K depending on if you're a boss. Now, when it's all said and done, you're probably thinking, Mr. Keep It Simple, do you have millions? No. But even though I don't have millions, chances are a kid would derail that. Now, if I do have millions, I really want to touch a woman, because now if she gets a hold of this seed, not only that, she's going to be the next millionaire. So the man holds all the power and nobody wants to talk about that in this dating game. They say women have options. Women with daddy issues doesn't count. They're just going to get smashed through glasses, back seats. We just got to keep it real. Guys are getting women with daddy issues. Who cares about that? At the end of the day, these guys are ending up on child support with women they didn't want. You guys have to understand, the realest thing about it is, why get a bill for a one-night thrill? See, when I speak, people want me to shut up. They want me to quit. They hope. But it's like, if guys really care about you, let's stop talking about the white man. Let's stop talking about racism. Let's start talking about the fact that most women, the best transaction for them is sex, because they get your seed. They get to suck you dry and get it out of you. They get to get it inside of them and let it just pour down. I mean, it might sound crazy, but at the end of the day, even if she rubs it in her face, she's rubbing life in her face. She needs your seed. This is not a secret. If you bust on her back, she's just gonna roll around like a sea whale. At the end of the day, she needs your seed. The life came from a man's seed. So when it comes to the dating game, it's sad to see men literally, they value the thrills instead of their bills. Now, if you live with your parents, it's natural to want to just have sex because you're stressed. I don't believe in stress sex. Why am I stressing? If I'm stressing, I need to get a Lamborghini Urus, get some merchandise and run it up. I mean, I'm not stressing, so the Lamborghini, I get it when I get it. I might even get the Lamborghini in Tokyo, Japan, with the bright lights, let it breathe. Driving in Tokyo, Japan, a Lamborghini, that will be an experience. But like I said, if you could pay the fee, they will throw you the keys. The only thing in Japan is they don't do finances. So if I get the Lamborghini Urus, either I ship it or I just have to buy cash. But either or, I can have the Lamborghini in China, Beijing. I can have the Lambo in Thailand. Most guys that go international, they don't go international like Americans. Me, when I go international, I want to go international like an American. I don't want to be a sideline watcher in Cape Town, South Africa. Shout out to Cape Town, South Africa. You're going to see SVJ. Now, society, they promote men to get a lot of women like they're the man. They're actually not the man. Because when it's all said and done, What is it the benefit for a man to have an orgasm versus a woman to have an orgasm? If a woman has an orgasm, she'll remember that man for the rest of her life. That man could be homeless. She could see that man on the streets and say, wow, he was the only man that gave me an orgasm. Most guys don't even give women orgasms. They be faking. They're faking it. But that's the game. You got to fake it till you make it. So she's going to fake it with you until her boss give her an orgasm. Then she's going to come and tell you, I need to move on. Women run away from men. They don't even give them the respect of a real breakup. So when it's all said and done, I want men to understand that you can't love a child that you didn't want. It's impossible. So when guys run away and escape women, it makes sense. I don't want to build for a thrill. When I see a woman with a jiggly bubble or big melons, that's a thrill. So if a woman says, oh, I'm pregnant, hell no. Now I got to build for a thrill. That doesn't make sense. That's why as men, you got to boss up mentally. You got to have a boss mentality. Why would you take a bill for a thrill? Now, somebody left a comment. They say it costs $287,000 to raise a child from 0 to 18. I think that's kind of being modest. That's why you can't really trust ChatGPT, because depending on who the man is and how your kids live and depending on what private school they go to, no, that could turn into $500,000. Then you got the woman, which is the mother of the child. She's $500,000. Then you got your lifestyle. So now in order to really, enjoy your, process of busting down a woman, you got to look at every woman as $1 million expense. This is why the majority of men will never be millionaires, because they don't look at women as $1 million expense. A woman is $1 million expense. That's why they love bosses and love celebrities, because it doesn't matter if you're the celebrity of, if a woman is if she procreates with Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan's wife got some crazy amount. If a woman procreates with Tiger Woods, she's probably going to get $1 billion or at least $800 million. So this is why women will literally stand outside of clubs when they hear Michael Jordan is coming in town. Because women are smart enough to know, if I get a hold of Michael Jordan, whatever's inside of him, in the words of Rallo Rodriguez, he said, she rich for life, she missed a period. So if you're the boss and you have a boss mentality, it doesn't benefit you to have sex. It benefits you to drop content. It benefits you to work. Listen, I went on overdrive, so me getting demonetized, I don't feel bad. ChatGPT said it's only normal to drop 5 videos on YouTube for the algorithm. I was dropping 13, 14. So I don't feel bad. You live and you learn, but I went past the algorithm because I don't have sex. So with that being said, as a man, we're going to wrap this up. Sex is for guys who like to waste time. Now, when you're married and you have a wife, you want your wife to be empowered. So yeah, you're going to give her the D. You're going to give her the vitamin D. She going to get all the vitamin D, but that's different. That's your wife. So if you see a woman that you want to empower with vitamin D, that's who you give the vitamin D to. You don't give a vitamin D to a woman sending you a video of her body parts or sending a random video. Screw her. She's not getting this vitamin D. You got to be really in control. Listen, and that's what I'm saying. Guys don't plan to be bosses. They don't want to be millionaires. So at the end of the day, most guys don't want to be millionaires. That's why they have to run away from their kids. Not being funny, but the kid is too expensive. The kid is too expensive and the woman is too expensive. So it's easier to just run away and pay child support. Like, people don't realize, but child support is actually better than to stay with your family. Because if you actually stay with the woman and you stay with the child and you stayed in the house, it doesn't matter if she had kids before you, it's more money to stay with the woman. But if you run away from the woman and if you run away from the child, depending on your income, your child support probably on like $600, $800. I know a woman in Sacramento, they told me they only get, I met a woman in Detroit. She said the father of her child only got paid $60. But these women are procreating with guys that were catching a bus. But if you're a man and you don't compare yourself to the average, you know he's losing. Like if a guy told me, oh man, I smashed 25 women in 25 days, well, that's because you don't have anything. So if a woman, what is your child support going to be, $60? You could afford to have sex. But a boss can't afford to have sex. A boss can't afford to smash anything moving. He can't afford it because it's too much of an expense. When you're an entrepreneur, it's not discussed and it's not talked about. But the turkey leg hut, the dude lost everything because he just running around getting married, smashing everything and buying old schools. It doesn't work like that. As a man, I understand we hear stories of polygamy and having all these women, but it really just makes sense to just have one that you want to empower, because if you have another one, you got to be up 20 million. For each woman, always think 10 million. So if you got 2 women, we're talking 20 million. You got 3 women, 30 million. So some of you guys could do it. I believe in you. I really do believe in you. But you got to understand the rule of thumb in my mindset is 1 woman, 10 million, 2 women, 20 million, 5 women, 50 million. Guys are not there. Elon Musk has 9 to 10 kids, if I'm not, correct, if I'm not accurate. But Elon Musk is up 31 billion. So Elon Musk can have as many kids as he wants to without stress. And I'm not using Elon Musk for a comparison, but these guys can have as many kids as they want. They're billionaires. They're billionaires. I don't care what anybody says, especially if you love women from outside of the U.S. They only see wealthy men. They're probably servers at a restaurant, but that doesn't mean they don't serve wealthy men. So a lot of these women in Brazil, they know what rich men look like, and they're not even soccer players. Brazil got a lot of billionaires and millionaires. The DR as well, too. They downplay the DR, and I don't know why, but Puerto Rico and DR, they got billionaires. So at the end of the day, a lot of these women, if they're procreating with guys that are thugs, that doesn't count. Because at the end of the day, these guys are going to leave because they don't want to be with her. It was just a thrill. And you got to think as a boss, why accept a bill for a thrill? And that's how we're going to finish this live. I want you guys to think. Because when you see a woman that's walking around, she look good, let her be. She looks good. Triple salute her. She looks good. But outside of her looking good, why do you need to act on her Daisy Dukes? Why you need to act on her booty? A lot of guys are just naturally weak. So society, the music, and life, that's why I shout out to Rallo Rodriguez again. He said, man, she rich for life. She missed a period. That's real. Let it breathe.